And welcome back to a podcast in space and time. Today, I should say our names. My name is Kendal Coffee.
I'm Holden B. Huffman.
And today we're talking about Doctor Who Series 2, Episode 4, The Girl in the Fireplace.
Yay!
So, Holden, what you think of this episode?
Well, I have mixed feelings about it, to be honest.
I feel you.
Like, I understand why people like it and why they really, really like it, but it just doesn't really work for me. I'm not sure why. I don't know. It's an okay episode, but it's not really one that I'm going to go back in and really watch. Or like if I were to make like my top 10 Doctor Who episodes list, it's not on there.
Yeah.
Like it's not a bad episode. In no means is it bad.
No, it's a good episode. It feels very... I guess my thing about it is that there are other similar episodes that I like more, and I think that's probably why it doesn't hit that hard for me.
Right, and which we both had never noticed until now.
Yeah, and that's something we'll talk about in the spoiler section.
Exactly.
But, yeah. I also felt like things were maybe a little rushed, and I understand, that's the consequence of having a 45-minute story, but like the romance between the Doctor and let me make sure I get her name correct.
Madame de Pompadour.
Renette. Yeah, I'm just going to call her Renette because
that works too.
I'm not going to say Madame de Pompadour 20 times.
I will.
Yeah, okay, you do that. Yeah, their romance I didn't feel like it had the time it needed to really.
It really
see those
didn't.
sparks fly.
Maybe on her point of view, but not really his.
Yeah, like there were things that she said that felt like, okay, but you've known him for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's like kind of 10 minutes over the course of like your whole life, but when you look at the amount of time they actually spend together, it's not a lot of time. And, I know the whole thing with her is that, she's this like brilliant lady, but she seemed to like have too deep of an understanding of the Doctor for someone who had known him for so short a time.
Yeah.
And
like,
maybe
how was she able to reverse read his mind? Like, I know she said, oh, well, it's a door. You can go and you can enter and exit through it.
Yeah, and like that makes sense, I guess. And I think part of it too is probably like, he being like this kind of legendary figure that passed through her life. Maybe she was able to fill in a lot of those gaps in his absence. Like obviously she would have had a lot of time to think about the Doctor.
And don't forget, she met him when she was just a little girl.
Yeah.
And like that probably developed like a huge crush being that young of an age. So
yeah, like you said, I think it makes sense from her perspective, but not so much from his.
Right. And I also have noted it's also interesting seeing the Doctor in love, which we do see again in the future, but that's spoiler territory to go any deeper.
He's got a thing for blondes.
He really does.
Yeah, it's always interesting when the Doctor is in love, and it's interesting the type of person he tends to gravitate towards. I mean, it's
usually a blonde.
Yeah, usually a blonde woman who's like also brilliant in her own way.
Yep.
Yeah, but like an interesting episode. Definitely not like I've you kind of see this episode on a lot of like people's top 10 lists. I don't think it's not even on my top 10 Moffat episodes list, but it's a good episode. It will probably rank in terms of this season. It will probably rank pretty high.
You don't really have that many options in this season.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the better ones of this season.
It's true. It is true. First off, okay, my first real note, other than just a little overview, Murray Goldman, mwah.
Oh, that
that first opening score was brilliant.
Yeah.
it was a very creepy aesthetic type, and it was just really, really good. And it really played in with the whole clock theme as well.
Yeah, and I think the word of this episode is aesthetic, because like, I mean, it's all on point. I love the clockwork.
It's the word of the day, kids.
The word of the day is aesthetic. Yeah, I mean, the clockwork dudes were really cool. I loved their whole design and like just the intricacy of when they took the mask off and like how you saw all the exposed parts. Whoever did the design on those like did brilliant work.
Oh, they really did. They really did.
And of course, you know, it's Versailles era France, so like everything's gorgeous. You know, great set work all around, great costuming.
And really, that's part of my favorite time period, from like the 1600s all the way through like the 1800s, is really my favorite time period.
Yeah, I mean, they really went all out on like every visual aspect, except I think my only thing that didn't work so well visually was like the ship.
Yeah, the ship was a little bland.
It was such a weird juxtaposition because you had these really cool looking clockwork, you know, clockwork people, and then the ship was just kind of bland, grungy, generic science fiction ship.
That is very true. I mean, if it was designed by like say the same person, it should have had a more clockwork feel to it.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen that same clockwork style in the ship itself. I think that would have been really cool.
I guess you could argue the fact that the ship was under repair.
Yeah.
But it just felt too extensive and everything for it to just be part of the repair.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's just like they blew all their budget on the really good, you know, the really good Versailles sets.
They blew their budget on the horse trainer.
Yeah, and they didn't have any budget left to make this ship look as good as everything else.
What did the doctor name the horse? He named the horse. He named it once.
Arthur.
I didn't catch it. Arthur. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you keep Mickey? Sorry.
Random side note.
I know what you're gonna say.
The girl who was like, there was one scene with her and Renette together. I don't know what exactly.
I know who you're talking about. In the garden.
Yeah, in the garden. But that's Angel Colby, who plays in Merlin. She plays Guinevere.
Another Merlin character.
Yeah.
Actor, actress, whatever.
Yeah, which, I mean, you know, it's the BBC and they have 10 actors, so they got to share.
Right. Also, this is Mickey's first big outing.
Yes.
Like everything he's done's been in England and everything, so.
Yeah, this is the first time he's gone beyond his little hometown, which is funny to say because he lives in London.
Right. I mean, it's like Sam. One more step, Mr. Frodo, and I'll be the furthest away I've ever been from home.
And then they meet
Merry and
Pippin out on like their daily stroll.
It's Frodo Baggins.
Merry and Pippin on their daily stroll go farther than Samwise Gamgee has ever gone in his life.
What I want to know is, how did Sam know the name of the farmer if he'd never been out that way?
I mean, like, I guess you just know people by association, especially if that farmer is going to like pitchfork you for going on his land. You may want to know who that person is and avoid being around them.
Okay, a line I really liked was it was kind of a mixture from Madame de Pompadour and the Doctor. What do monsters have nightmares of? Me.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of lines that are very much about the Doctor, which I think Moffat is a big fan of.
Oh yeah, very big fan.
Yeah, but yeah, we got several like that.
Right, and
We also got the one from Renette about, you always see them together, the monsters and the doctor.
Mm-hmm. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Which is very true. We talked about the reading minds thing. First time we've seen the Doctor do that, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if he really did that in Classic Who. But
and he doesn't do it very much in even New Who, but it's definitely something that comes up occasionally when it's convenient.
Right.
This is our first really timey-wimey episode,
which is a phrase that hasn't been used yet. So
yeah, but we'll hear the phrase timey-wimey. But it's very convenient that the show gave us a phrase to describe this kind of episode.
It's really nice, actually. It's like, oh, okay, this is going to be a timey-wimey episode.
Yeah, you can just say it and Whovians know what you mean by that. You don't have to explain that, oh, this is an episode where there's like all kinds of weird time shenanigans happening.
Yeah, and we'll go into more detail about that in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
Mr. Thick. Mr. Thickety Thick thing from Thicktown. And so's your dad. The Doctor likes him thick.
The Doctor likes him thick.
I spelled out thick with 2 C's on my notes.
Good.
Sorry, you were saying I interrupted you with thick.
I was just going to say there's also some great suspenseful scenes in this episode.
There was.
The scene with the ticking and the clock was broken.
Uh-huh.
That was a very good suspenseful moment.
It was. Props to the costume designer for just the creepiness of the clockwork droids. Like, without the clockwork parts, like with the masks and everything. The masks really did it and everything, and just, yeah.
Yeah, some very good work there.
And also shout out to the actors playing the clockwork droids for really doing a solid job portraying the whole robot clockwork thing.
Yeah, Paul Casey and Ellen Thomas are credited with playing the clockwork people.
Well, there was more, but
yeah, I'm sure there were others, but those were like the 2 main ones credited.
Right. I guess I think we talked about Madame Pompadour just being kind of clever, I guess, because like she really doesn't have that big of an impact on history, I don't think.
No, she was a big patron of the arts, and that was like there was a lot of things happening in the arts at the time, a lot of like really big artists.
That was the age of the Renaissance.
There was some like overlap there.
So I do understand that, because like that was a really big impact on like theater and everything, because like a lot of the churches tried to completely ban theater. Like after Shakespeare and everything, theater really went down under for a long time.
Yeah.
Because the church said it was ungodly.
Of course they did.
And as an actor, I was very offended.
The church is standing around like, what thing is of the devil this week? We've had a lull.
It's so true, though.
We've had a lull in calling things heresy. We got to come up with a new one to really...
How about that Shakespeare fellow? I heard he's done another play with another sex joke.
My Lord, sex.
It's not
in
like
our country. Banned.
Exactly. Let's go burn down the Globe Theatre, which they actually did.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, thank you for joining us for our Renaissance William Shakespeare Church, English Church podcast. Join us next time.
And for our outro, we will list all the things that the church set on fire.
This is going to be a long outro.
So hang on for the next 12 hours.
Yep. I also love the line from David Tennant. Look, Madame Pompadour said, "Have you traveled those stars?" From time to time.
Time to time.
Because
he's a time traveler.
I get it. Also, Mickey's shirt was just on point.
Oh, I didn't even notice. What was his shirt?
It was an NES controller.
Oh, what's it?
Yeah, I couldn't make out the text completely just from not the right angles or anything. It was something about your roots, like not forgetting your roots or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they were allowed to use that.
There was some line in there about
I know what you're gonna say.
about the king's wife and his girlfriend getting along, and my thought at the moment was maybe the TARDIS crew could try that. You got Mickey, who's obviously the girlfriend, and you got the Doctor, who is the wife, and you got Rose, who's the king.
Yep.
They could work out some kind of mutual arrangement in that way.
Here comes the Rose fan club going, no, that's wrong. Rose is the best. Rose is the best companion ever. She would never do anything wrong.
Another great line when Renette was like, this is my lover, the King of France, and the Doctor gets that jealous face, and he's like, well, I'm the Lord of Time, and I'm here to fix the clock. Oh, that was very good.
It was a very good line. Green screen effect on the fire behind the fireplace. I noticed one. They forgot to add in the effect. The green screen was there.
Okay.
They just forgot to add in the effect.
Yeah, I did not catch that one, but also I was like not really paying attention because I was looking up Renette's whole deal. Right. For some reason, I got her confused with Marie Antoinette.
I mean, I did too. I thought it was something to do with her time period, something to do with
the French Revolution, yeah. Which that wasn't for another like 40 years after her death.
Right.
Yeah, but I was like trying to figure out, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This isn't the same person.
Yeah, because we heard she died of an illness, and we're like, wait, I thought she was beheaded.
Yeah.
But they made the whole thing about her being beheaded through the whole episode because they needed her brain. And it was just like, oh, that's a nod to that. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I thought, oh, that's kind of a very on-the-nose setup. But no, yeah. I'm just an idiot.
Yeah, we both are.
Thanks for joining our history podcast.
Yeah.
We're really good at that.
Very. I mean, I got an A in American History 1 and a B in World Civilizations 1.
And you get an F in French Revolutionary Era history.
No. Yeah. I only have one more note for the non-spoiler section. I don't know about you.
That's all I've got for non-spoilers.
Okay, last one I have. That was a cheap move, Moffat. That was a cheap explanation. Well, why did they want her brain? What was so special about her brain? I don't know.
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know. Like, come on.
Come on, Moffat.
You're better than this.
You just didn't feel like writing an answer.
Right.
Oh, it reminds me of, and I don't recommend this show at all, but because it's like bad and dumb, but it reminds me of the ending of Sword Art Online.
Oh, I've had so many people tell me it's the best anime ever.
Oh no, it's bad.
And I'm like, really? My two best friends have told me it's horrible. I trust their judgment more than a random stranger.
Yeah, but like basically, it's like your story of like people trapped in a death game.
You mean Ready Player One?
Ready Player One wasn't a death game, was it? Well,
no, but I mean, I don't know. I've not seen it or read it, but it just sounds so similar.
I don't know. Anyway, it's like, yeah, there's like a VR death video game, and at the end, the main character Kirito meets the creator of the game, and he's like, okay, so why did you trap all these people in this video game to like die horribly? And the game creator is like, I don't even remember. And I'm like, really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I am so glad I never got invested in that. Like, I watched I watched the first episode and that was it. And I'm just like, eh. Oh my gosh, that is so anticlimactic.
Yeah, I know. And okay, so there's an abridged series.
That's like if in Full Metal Alchemist, it's like if Al never got his body back.
Yeah, I know. Spoilers.
What the heck?
Yeah, there's an abridged Sword Art Online by Something Witty Entertainment, and they played that scene out exactly as it was in the anime, and then like Kirito's like, wait, what? And then the dude is like, no, I'm just kidding, could you imagine? And there's like another 5 minutes of them going on about how dumb that would have been.
Oh gosh, it's like in it's like the play episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
like that's literally what that episode was, just fan dubs.
Yeah. Avatar did like an official abridged series, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Everyone go watch Sword Art Online Abridged by Something Witty Entertainment. It's amazing.
I really need to see if there's any Full Metal Alchemist abridged or My Hero Academia.
Or Black Clover. I found one FMA abridged that was really funny, but they only did like 3 episodes and then never did another one.
Was it FMA or FMAB?
It was Brotherhood, I think.
Okay.
But yeah,
because I've only seen Brotherhood. I mean, after seeing Brotherhood, I just don't want to see the original.
But yeah, that's how a lot of abridged series are. People will do like a couple episodes and then realize it's a lot of work and then just never return.
Yeah, no, it is. It really. I've not done it, but I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today on our anime podcast. Join us next time as we talk about Digimon.
I was going to make a Made in Abyss joke, but...
well, I made a Digimon joke, okay?
I have not seen either of those shows.
I've not seen Digimon either. I've seen Pokemon. I've seen a lot of Pokemon. Okay. Time to get into the spoiler section. Spoiler warning. I can't believe Rose dies in this one again. Look, we're going to keep making that joke until the day we die.
Well, until Rose is no longer on the show. Really.
Yeah, then we'll switch it to Martha, and then we'll switch it to Donna, and then we'll switch it to Amy, and then Clara, and then Bill.
I mean, really, like, the funniest one would be saying Rory every time.
Or Jack.
Because, like, I mean, if we say Rory, at least a good 10% of the time we're going to be correct once we get to him being in the show.
It's very true.
Very true. Yeah, so this is a very similar storyline to Amy's.
Yeah, like, what the heck? I had never noticed this before.
I didn't either until this rewatch, and then it like clicked with me. I was like, oh wow, it's like basically the Amy storyline, with like, you know, the doctor meeting her as like a little girl and the doctor becoming like almost this imaginary friend figure, and then saying he's going to be back in 5 minutes, and then
they even
like
used the imaginary friend line in this episode.
Yeah. And then the doctor saying he'll be back in like 5 minutes, and then like appearing again when she's older and like not recognizing her. And yeah, very similar vibes.
With the doctor always saying he's really good with faces, he's really bad with them.
He's not very good with them. Not when like people have aged in any way. I guess for some reason he.
But when here's the thing with Capaldi doesn't notice the age. Like he's like with Clara, he's like, "Are you taller, Hills? Your face is so colored in makeup and stuff like that."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I enjoy that each doctor is kind of oblivious in a different way. I feel like Tennant's very oblivious in like not really being good at reading the room.
Right, yeah. But yeah, a lot of the Amy stuff, and then also we do see a return of the clockwork droids in Capaldi's first episode, Deep Breath.
Yeah.
And they actually reference this episode in that, because obviously.
Yeah, but what I was alluding to earlier was basically that, like, I preferred this storyline when it was Amy.
Yeah.
I feel like we got a little more. For some reason,
that was over a season's worth, just about it.
Well, and to like that episode, the 11th hour, there's just more time for it to breathe. There wasn't as much going on in that episode.
It's very true. It's very true.
And it was a little longer. So we just got a little more time for that, like, to really breathe and be fleshed out prior to, you know, Amy, like, falling in love and snogging the doctor. But yeah, there was more of it over the course of the season too. It wasn't just like the one episode.
Right. And first time we ever hear the mention of the oncoming storm.
Yeah. I thought it was odd that
Rose was the one that mentioned it.
She mentioned it and there wasn't really any context for it. Like, he hadn't really used that. It seemed like a line that maybe made more sense if it was after it had been referenced before.
Yeah.
But like before the doctor had like even said that. Did the doctor say that? Who says that?
What line? The oncoming storm?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that comes up later.
Well, he says it in The Voyage of the Damned. I'm the doctor. I'm the oncoming storm. I'm a Time Lord. I'm the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castabras. I don't know. He says it a lot. He does say it.
Yeah. It seemed weird, like, just in that scene though, and with no context.
Also, can we talk about the name? His name?
The Doctor. Doctor Who?
His name, and what Madame Pompadour said, your name is more than just a secret. What the heck?
That got me really wondering, like, how much Moffat was planning, because obviously at this point he could not have known that he was like going to be showrunner later and like have entire seasons to develop things. But I'm wondering if he didn't have like something in mind
for like just a future episode or something.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he had like an episode or a two-parter in mind where they were going to kind of address the doctor's name. And
it's mentioned again, hinting again, not in the next season, but in season 4, his episode of River telling him whispering his name in his ear. So.
Yeah. He had some kind of plans, for sure.
Yeah, but gosh, I never thought it went that far back.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely caught me off guard. I was like, wait, really? Already? We're already dropping those hints?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it too wasn't just kind of like a J.J. Abrams kind of move, like drop that little hint of the secret box, and
just in case he thinks of something later.
Yeah, I'll think of an answer later, or Ryan Johnson will do it for me, and everybody will hate him.
And then I'll just retcon it.
And then I'll retcon it in the third one because
fans are never happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to bring it back to the Timeless Children, but I'm bringing it back to the Timeless Children.
Okay.
The line in the Ghost Monument felt like a throwaway line. I mean, think about in a way, maybe not, because it wasn't mentioned at all for the rest of the season until the very next season.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely seems like kind of that same kind of thing, sort of the J.J. Abrams mystery box move, where like, you know, you drop a hint and like come up with an answer later.
So what was the whole ordeal with J.J. Abrams and Lost? I've never seen Lost, but I understand that the ending was so anticlimactic.
Yeah, so
spoiler alert for Lost.
I have not seen it, but from what I understand is that like it was kind of one of those things that, you know, they were kind of making it up as they went along, which I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. There have been great stories that were made up as they went along.
Mm-hmm.
The original Star Wars trilogy,
Yeah.
made up as they went along. Great story.
All right.
There's a podcast called The Adventure Zone. They were literally making it up as they went along and learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons as they went along. And
Oh, nice.
it ended up with a great story. So I don't think there's anything wrong with like doing that, but the way Lost ended, it felt very like kind of cheap. From what I understand, it was like kind of, they were in purgatory the whole time. Which people predicted in like, season 1, people were guessing that.
That's pretty bad.
And then I think like, I think there might've been something with the showrunners trying to like pretend that it wasn't actually purgatory, but it was basically purgatory. Yeah, and it, they had been dead the whole time and like had died on the plane or something. I don't know. But yeah, it ended up. It was just a very disappointing ending based on like all of the build up to just be told, oh, none of this stuff that happened was actually real.
I mean, that reminds me of Gravity Falls as well, because like someone had predicted the whole twin theory. Of Grunkle Stan being a twin, because like, and it was a really good one too, because like the episode that it really started the hinting towards was the Dreamscaperers, and like the flashback with Grunkle Stan, like he's learning how to kickbox or whatever.
Right, but there were hints of it early on, because there was the body swap episode.
Yeah, in the hidden room.
Yeah, where they find Stanford's room.
With the glasses, and so you see Stan just kind of sneak the glasses in his pocket, and then later you see him just kind of looking at them and rubbing them, like reminiscing.
Yeah, and I think there's like, and I remember watching that theory like before we find out what happens in the show, and I watched it. I was like, I mean, it's pretty good, but I feel like that's a little far fetched. But it ended up being like basically spot on. And I think there's become a thing, and it really annoys me, but there's become a thing with stories these days where like writers try so hard to keep people from predicting the endings. I've even heard of like, shows rewriting their endings just to keep people, just because somebody guessed it. And it's so annoying, because like, if you're writing your story well enough, people should be able to guess the ending.
Right.
That's how a story should work.
Right. I mean, Alex Hirsch did something completely different. He drew some fake. He drew a fake picture of Fiddleford McGucket.
Yeah.
Writing the journals, and then like did some very bad filtering on it, and then posted it on like Reddit.
Right.
And then posted it, kept it up there for like an hour, and then took it down.
Yeah, and like, that's fun. That's a fun like red herring thing. I have no problem with like a story throwing in some red herrings, but if your story is like has really good foreshadowing and like has a trajectory that makes logical sense, then people like, if people are paying close enough attention, they should be able to predict where it's going. That's how stories work.
Right. And I mean, Alex Hirsch knew from the beginning Grunkle Stan had a twin. That was completely from the beginning.
And the clues were all there. Like, obviously not every fan was going to be able to guess that, but like the fact that a fan did guess it was proof that like, this thing was set up well. It wasn't just like, it wasn't just a twist for the sake of surprising people. It was a twist for the sake of telling a good story. And that I think that's the difference.
Right. And I've watched a lot of the commentary stuff. Like he did commentary for the episodes of Gravity Falls on the DVD collector set. And I've watched some of those. And like he said from the beginning, he knew Stan was a twin. And then like he said, like he didn't know what the machine was always. Like there at the beginning of season 2, he still didn't know what this machine was.
Yeah.
And then like he started freaking out because like at the end of season 1, you see the machine, and he started freaking out like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is yet.
What have I done to myself?
Yeah. Because like that's why he only did 2 seasons, because that he said the work basically killed him, and it was just too much to handle, or else they would have done a 3rd season.
Yeah, and I think that's like, it shows a deeper issue with like that animation industry. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much of a crunch mentality that
Mm-hmm.
like um there was actually an episode of the Owl House recently that kind of like poked fun at that.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything is about like, you gotta like work the extra hours and you gotta stay up like all night shifts and just get the product out there
Mm-hmm.
on time
Mm-hmm.
instead of it being delayed and the fans being upset, and
Right.
it's very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously not just at Disney, but like the fact that two Disney creators have like commented on it shows that it is a
Mm-hmm.
big but I've also heard like things about it from basically every animation studio. And I know it's a big issue in video games as well.
Mm-hmm. Props to anime for being able to produce hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Yeah, I know it's a really big issue in Japan.
Mm-hmm. Like, because like Naruto, the original Naruto has 220 episodes, and then Shippuden has 500 episodes.
Yeah.
And then One Piece has been going on for years, like 15 years. Same with Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, thank you everyone for joining us today on our animated animation podcast. We really went off the rails there, and I don't know how long this episode is now. So join us next time for Doctor Who Series 2, Episode 5, The Rise of the Psyche.
Bum, bum, bum.